What's going on, universe? It's your boy Reggie. You got my man Deshaun to the left of me. You're right. You got my man G to the right of me. You're left. First podcast of 2020. It's been a minute. My man G talking about I need to get back on it. You know, I had to get used to this. I had to get used to this fatherhood thing. This shit, balancing this little one out. I had to get used to it, but it feels good to get back into things. Of course, Deshaun always comes and outdresses everybody. I don't even know why. You know what I'm saying? I say, hey, come do a podcast. You know what I'm saying? We're chilling.
I was already dressed, man.
Come out in a goddamn suit, bruh. Please. So, that's his style. That's him. But with that being said, it is Black History Month. So I just wanted to get on the topic of things that's changed, what hasn't changed over the years or decades or however you want to say it. First thing I want to ask both of you guys, how old were you when you, I don't want to say it was, well, I guess you could say introduced to Black History Month, per se. As in, the first time, like, you was in school and they had it's Black History Month and, you know, talk about certain people and things like that.
For me, I'm going to say that I can remember.
Yeah.
I would say about 7.
Okay.
It's about 7, and just remember being in class, and we had different assignments, picking, you know, a person to do, you know.
Right.
And I did George Washington Carver.
Okay.
That's what I did, and that was my first time, like, doing something for Black History in school.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know if it's just from trauma, but I don't remember much.
Right. No.
I feel like from the jump, like, I wouldn't say kindergarten, like,
right,
for
right.
sure, but maybe first grade. I just remember for the most part, like, actually, like you're saying, doing assignments somewhere around, like, probably 3rd and 4th.
Yeah. Okay.
Which almost makes me feel like that's when we really started, like, looking at Black History Month within the curriculum.
Right.
I don't know if they did that on purpose, because they don't really want to, like, try to explain to a child's brain racism.
Right.
You have to start there with Black History Month.
Facts.
That says a lot. But probably like 3rd and 4th.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was 3rd grade. Was it 3rd grade? Yeah, it was 3rd grade. And I'll never forget, it was Miss Giles' class. She was my favorite teacher. Favorite 3rd grade teacher, white lady, loved pigs, all this. And I love her to death. We had Black History Month, of course, and this is when I realized the difference between Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. So she says, bring in a movie we can watch. And if anybody knows me, I love to talk. I was born to talk. So I was like, oh yeah, I got a movie. So I went home and got Malcolm X, not knowing, you know, who he was.
Yeah.
I knew of Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, Malcolm X, okay, we'll do Malcolm X. So we go, I didn't know anything about the movie. So I was like, all right, yeah, I got a movie. Put it in VHS, of course, back then. Yeah. Put the movie in, Malcolm X. And boy, I mean, out the gate, just cussing, this, that, and the third, and we just had to stop it. She was like, no, we can't do that. Something. I'm just like, in my head, I'm just like, okay, I don't get it. You said bring in something. So she called Mom, and Mom kind of told me, like, you can't do that. And then we brought in Martin Luther King, and then we watched the whole movie. And then that's when I kind of understood, like, okay, so this is what it is. We can only do peace and non-violent. We can't do by any means necessary.
Right.
And that's when at 3rd grade, that's when I realized, okay, there's a very different. Now I see why there wasn't a Malcolm X Day but there's a Martin Luther King Day. So that was my first initial hit of, oh shit, this is. But it really still didn't hit me though. I don't think it really hit me as much. I just knew that's when it was different.
Yeah.
How was it growing up for you guys? Because I mean, I know you're from
From Durham.
from Durham, and you're from South Carolina. So how with you guys? And I'll tell you mine. But for you guys, how was it growing up, being a young black man in the South?
In Durham.
Mm-hmm.
In Durham, it wasn't too bad.
Right.
Because I think Durham is like, especially growing up, it was like that place of, I get a kind of a hippie kind of feel in Durham.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, and it's a I'm black and I'm proud kind of thing in Durham, you know. And it wasn't too bad. Now you did have some cases where it was like you had run-ins with, you know, a white person or something like that. Especially because I grew up a little bit in Rossboro, which is like 40 minutes from Durham.
Mm-hmm.
And which I think is majority white, but it wasn't that bad, but it was definitely a difference from the feeling of Durham and Rossboro. Especially I was on the baseball team in Rossboro.
Right.
You know, there some people did not make you feel welcome, like you're not supposed to be here.
Right.
You know, so you had to prove yourself a lot harder than some other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have a peculiar upbringing because so my granddad owned a business, an air conditioning business. So like off top, like between that and when so the way I grew up was like I'm my only child, and then my mom just had 3 kids, and then when they worked, me and my cousins were at my grandparents' house a lot. That's pretty much like the formats of my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
One of my cousins, Danielle, did like pageants and ballet. So me and my cousin Jeremy pretty much grew up like the Boondocks. Like we were of South Carolina, but we were infused into other cultures and like stuff that black people don't normally get to see. But it didn't like change us. So it was just like 2 little black boys at a ballet, or at a pageant, or at something that she had to do to promote herself. And then just like my granddad doing air conditioning, like I forget the specific term, but like when the state needed something done, they went to him. They'd be like, "Is this done right?" So on one end, I saw the other world. And it was kind of, I guess, through that, I don't want to say fake, but it's not like outside. It's attached to like some type of structure of like, hey, we're at a pageant, let's all smile in this, or like, this is business.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like outside, like I have to deal with this person that like has a vendetta against me because of my skin color. But then at the same time, just being around family, predominantly black, friends, predominantly black, had some white friends, Hispanic friends. I very much was aware of like KKK and stuff, very much aware of the tension between whites and blacks. But it's weird, at least in Colombia it's weird, because like, you know when somebody doesn't fuck with you, but at the same time, they're not gonna do nothing. They just gonna fuck with you, and you know it. It's not like an internal thing, like a secret, and then you find out later on. But then at the same time, I don't know if it's just within our generation, but then I have white friends that like, you know what I mean, John Deered out, Mossy Oak, and at the same time, they fuck with Boosie and Jeezy.
Yeah.
And they understood like, yo, why my homie can't do this and that? So like, I have a very skewed perspective because I was lucky enough to have, and I had my cousin Jane. My cousin Anthony married this woman Jane, white woman, and I have biracial cousins. So like, from the jump, I always was related to someone white.
Yeah.
And then that situation, as far as like white people around, I had a lot of white female teachers. Like I was like a cute kid or whatever, so like they fuck with me. So like my perspective of white people was never negative until like started seeing like Malcolm X or like all these other movies, and it's kind of like, yo, what is this about? And then like, you know what I mean, getting to be a teenager at that certain point, 2000s when everybody was wearing tall tees and like it became a big deal to be in a gang, and then you start seeing how adults react to you. And I wore a lot of black when I was younger, and like, you know what I mean? I had a resting bitch face, so like when I walk in the stores with big clothes and all black and no type of expression, I see the difference in the way that people move and what they clutching and how they speak to me until they hear my voice and all that kind of stuff. So I was fortunate compared to like a lot of other people.
Right.
Especially being light skinned too. Like, it's I wouldn't say it's easier, but the door is cracked
a little bit.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna get chose before like one of y'all.
Yeah, facts.
You know what, man? I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't mean to cut you off. But to piggyback off what you said about skin color, even though I experienced that in Roxborough, I experienced more like skin color jokes from my own race.
Yeah.
And not saying it was a racial thing. It was people that I really didn't know. I was new to Roxborough.
Right.
But it was still that some of my people that were other opposite race, it wasn't even like they wasn't even like paying. I hate to say paying attention because you know it was a different race, but it wasn't. They weren't making a big deal out of it, you know. Except for some of my own people, which I always thought that was crazy.
Right. Yeah. I think that's our psychological thing that happened with us growing up. It's more so. Light skin gets it easier than the dark skin, or our own race get on you like, damn, you be dark as midnight, or this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Because for me, I was a military brat, so I didn't know. I mean, I knew, I experienced it out west, being where I was at. Was at a small, well, the high school I went to was a small high school. It was like 630 something students, and maybe out of 630 students, maybe 35, 40 were black. And it was a white area. I mean, if you've seen the movie Varsity Blues, that's how my high school color coding was. We was in high school. That's pretty much how it was. Predominantly white. There was and it was, Wheeling was more so, it was generational white people. Like everybody was related some way. There's the Saracosts were out there, the Stutlers were out there, and they had been there for generations and generations. So I mean, I experienced it a little bit, but see, I'm one of those ones, I get along with anybody and everybody anyway. So I wasn't oblivious to it, but I was oblivious to it at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it didn't really hit me until one night I had gotten, we had some party, and my boy Daryl had got put in handcuffs because, you know, we were kids, we were 15, 16 years old, out, and Wheatland is like a country town. So we was out in the midnight at my boy Leeback's birthday party, and they had went out in the fields and just wilding out, and I guess the cops said that they were putting bananas in tailpipes, which they weren't, and they had put my boy Daryl in handcuffs, but they didn't put none of the white kids in handcuffs. And that's when I and then his mom, whose mom is white, Miss Corey, shout out to Miss Corey, kind of was like, why the hell is she fucking in handcuffs and not them, and all of them should have been, not saying they all did it, and that kind of opened my eyes a little bit to it, and I was like, oh snap, okay, alright, I kind of get the drift of me being different. But see, with me being in sports and being good at sports, not too long horn, but to be good at sports, I kind of wasn't. I kind of slid by because it was okay. You're the black kid, you nice, so it's kind of like we'll let you scoot on. Now, when I moved out here after sophomore year, that's when shit fucking hit. When I got moved out here sophomore or going into my junior year, that's when I was like, oh shit, like, and it didn't hit because I was a Carolina fan growing up. So me, it was Dad, we getting orders back to North Carolina, which my dad is from here. I was like, oh shit, we going back to North Carolina. Da, da, da. I was geeked, not knowing how geeked I was. I don't even know why. I think it was just because of the basketball aspect. I was geeked. It's like, hell yeah, we moving into something new. And I got out here, fucking never seen so many black people in my life. Humidity was just fucking ridiculous off the chain. I was like, what the hell? You step outside and you just start sweating out of nowhere. Bugs big as hell. And it was just like, and then that's when I get piggyback off you said with our race, getting on that. That's when I got the whole why you sound white, you talk proper, and I was like, what you talk? I pronounce my words. What do you mean? I talk. Why you say ain't? Why don't you say ain't? You shouldn't say ain't. I'm like, huh? That don't even make no sense. You know what I mean? And people used to get on me and like, you sound white. You shouldn't talk like this. And I'm just like, that's when I kind of, and I experienced racism from our own people first.
Yeah.
And then once we started walking around like different areas, or not different areas, going into different stores down in Hope Mill, like you said, you can sense it. You can sense the ones that either fuck with you or they don't fuck with you. You can just feel it. And that's when I kind of realized like, okay, yeah, this is the South.
Yeah.
This isn't out west where everybody is kind of like, even though we do have KKK and stuff out there, but it's not. Out west is more of a melting pot of different races and everything. Here it was like, I walked in and you could just, I'm just walking, you could just see somebody just look, and it's just like, you could feel the energy. It was just like, what the, like, so I think when I first moved out here, that's when it hit me, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm really, I'm definitely not on the West Coast no more. And I think that's when I started picking up, the different people's, I think that's when I started really paying attention to the history of like, George Washington Carver, Malcolm X, Carmichael.
No, okay, yeah.
Carmichael and what's my man that just passed away a few years ago? That he was a comedian. He was a comedian.
Dick Gregory.
Dick Gregory. That's when I found out about who Dick Gregory was and all that. Is when I got here, and that's when it changed my perspective. Moving out here changed my perspective on white people. Like it just switched. It was just like, I don't know. It was just weird. Like my whole thought process just changed. And I still like rock with all my peoples back west that way. Like, cause they're just, but just here it was just like, and then this was the first place that I realized like white people act black. Like that was a shock to me. Like, I mean, some black people, going back to the residents, some black people be like, oh yeah, blacker than you, he's white. I'm just like, yeah, but until we get pulled over, then what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, but that's when I, like you said, they listened to, then it was the Jeezy, Lil Wayne, and everything, and I was just like, it was crazy. That's like I said, that's when I experienced the whole different, when I moved to the South, which was crazy. Now, how you were saying, white people or some white friends or whatever listen to hip hop or whatever. Now, do you feel like with them listening to hip hop? Because look, I'm gonna be honest. Look, rather people want to admit it, whites want to admit it, blacks want to admit it. White people use the N-word. I don't give a fuck. They use it. They use it behind closed doors. They might not use it in public, and there is some that would just use it in public and not even care. But they use it. Now, I remember one time for me, I had said, because my boy Adam, shout out to Adam Backwood, hung out with white dude, but I mean, he hung out with black people, and he played sport. And I remember his mom is with Ghana at the time said, you know, he's around, and she wasn't being, you know, she was just like, he hangs out with you guys, and sometimes I think son's black, da da da. And at my time, back then, I was like, yeah, he can use the N-word. He can say that. Because it was, to me, it was, okay, like, I know you're not saying it.
You're not using it.
You're not using it in a malicious way.
Yeah.
You're really not, even though he never used it anyway. But I mean, I know if he would have said it, I wouldn't have, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? It just would have been like, oh, okay. What's your take on that? Because there's a lot out here.
In this climate, everywhere.
In this climate, period. I mean, you can be on the West Coast, anywhere. In this climate nowadays, it's, especially the way our culture is, and everybody goes to our culture. How do y'all feel about if you do hear somebody say it? And I'm not saying that, like, you know the distinction between the two, them using it two different ways. How do y'all feel about? I'm saying it.
That's a conversation that I always want to have. At the same time, like, I feel like I'd be playing devil's advocate without trying to. Because, like, all right, so you had the Kendrick Lamar concert. You had the white woman come up and sing the lyrics, and then she sang the lyrics.
Right.
Stopped her. Like, immediately, I was like, all right, I get why you stopped her, but you make music and you want everybody to love it, but then everybody can't say all the lyrics.
Right.
That's on us.
Yeah.
So it's complicated because you put it in the lyrics and you want them to sing it.
Right.
So, but if it's like conversation,
Uh-huh.
where you feel like you get comfortable, that's ultimately comes with comfort. You get comfortable and you want to be a part of it and inclusive.
Yeah.
Then you feel like you can use it as an as a term of endearment.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, like, this might be getting like woo-woo or whatever, but I feel like there's something genetically within us to where we can't hear that word without feeling some type of way. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's beyond, it's with the history, but it's beyond that. Like, I think something genetically has happened to us evolutionary wise to where we can't hear that word coming from a certain mouth without it affecting us physically.
Right.
Which we don't have that conversation enough.
Right.
Because there's times where someone white will say nigga and like you don't feel nothing because you know you're like, well, that was authentic, but still stop.
Right.
And then there's other times
right.
where somebody be trying to use it and it's like,
yeah,
that cut deep.
Yeah.
And I could be, honestly be like, nope, no one should say it, blah, blah, blah. But there's a part of me that, like, outside of being black, I feel like words are words. And energy is energy.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that were positive that have been flipped to be evil, like gay used to mean happy, and now it means homosexual, which isn't a negative, but it's something that used to mean this, and now means that.
Right.
Swastika used to come from like East Asia, and then that was like 100 years ago, and then the Nazis popped up with like last century, and then now no one knows anything about the positive.
We're gonna get into those, yeah.
So like, I think like Donald Glover said is like a couple white people gonna have to take a sacrifice and just take some ass whoopings and try to like get us comfortable with it, or we just abolish making that noise. That is that word. Like I don't know what the answer is. Like I could very much say you stop saying a word, or let's have a conversation about it. But really, I feel like it's. I don't know. I don't have the answer. Like I'll be the black person that says that and that takes the brunt. Like don't say it to me, and don't expect for me not to say anything to you. But at the same time, I don't know what the answer is.
Right.
I'm not gonna pretend like I do.
Right.
G, I feel you, man. With me and the word period.
Yeah.
Like, I don't call anybody.
Okay.
And
You're a good one, because I'm not gonna lie, I love using the word. I do, and it's not so much of. I think because we kind of took it and we made it not being that in a way. You know what I mean? Like we made it as in us, as in no, like I got you, like we're gonna take this negative and make it our positive. Especially when I started knowing the history of the word nigger, because when Kendrick came out with nigger, Niger, which is Black Ethiopian King, you know, even though I kind of knew, but it didn't. I thought it was just made up. They were just trying to give it to us. But then when I did the history, it's like, okay, then so, like you were saying, the swastika used to mean something. I feel like they kind of try to take something that's not theirs and make it negative.
But nigger, literally, the word means ignorant. But people are being ignorant. It's almost like minority. Minority means less than the majority. But when you say minority, you know people of color.
Right.
So it's the same thing, but it's deeper because people, the way that they throw it, that energy they throw behind it, it's less of the word and the meaning, it's more of the energy that's attached to the zeitgeist of where it comes from.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying I feel like it's beyond a word being used. It's on some borderline spiritual fucking harnessing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't, like I said, I don't call anybody that by that, and I really don't like for anybody to say it to me.
Right.
You know?
No, I feel it.
And it's like, because I know where it came from,
right,
and how deep that word cut.
Yeah.
You know, our ancestors, and
right,
you know, and still does.
Right.
To people. So that's why I was like, man, and I was never the type of person to just say it anyway.
Right.
So I was like, well, hell, on brushing up on my vocabulary, you know, because I got so many other words I can use,
right,
you know, and we'll go from there. That's why I decided, okay, well, I'll take that word out of my vocabulary,
right,
and even people say, "Oh, why are you acting like you know?" And I'm like, "But what is that? You know?
Right.
what is acting like one? And but you look like one."
Right. But you know, I didn't. This is how you know the East Coast and West Coast are completely two different. It's just different. Because when I was out west, don't get me wrong, we were still listening to West Coast music or whatever, but I didn't really start using the word until I moved out here. When I moved out here, that's when I really was, because I don't even think I used the word as much as I did in high school. Like now, I might say it from time to time, especially if I'm singing a song. If I'm hyped, I'm saying the word. I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't say it so much now to like, you know what I mean? I don't say it like that now. But when I moved out here, that's when I started, like, I don't know, it just like got thrown in the vocabulary. And it might have just been because from being from the West Coast, I think, like I said, coming here and then being around, one, like I said, my school was 632 students. And then moving out here to 4,000 students and damn near 50% to 70% is black. So now it's
the whites are minority now.
Right.
Yeah.
And now they're throwing it.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you know how it is growing up. Once you're around people that are just throwing it, sometimes it just happens to just get into your vocabulary because you're so used to hearing it, and it's just,
especially when you're young.
You know what I mean? And so when I moved out here, that's when I really started using it, and then it was just like, okay, then what the, you know what I mean? And it didn't even, like, I didn't even, and maybe it was so I could fit into, because like I said, they was like, you're white, like, you talk white, like, why are,
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, then maybe I have to low key, because man, I got braids because I moved out here because I thought that's what it was. You know what I mean? In the South, that's what you see. That's what you braids, goatee, beards, like. Well, back then it was just baggy clothes wherever you were at. That was just the fashion. But before we moved out west, or before we moved to North Carolina, like I started growing my hair out because I thought that's what majority of black people look like. Okay, I gotta get braids, have braids out here, and I was still, you sound white. I was just like, all right, like yeah, this culture shock is not fucking cool, bro.
You know, man, and this happened to me the other day. It was a black lady. I'm talking to somebody else, and she said, "Oh, you talk white."
Yeah.
And I looked at her like, "What is talking white?"
Right.
And she was like, "You talk like you have been raised right, and talk like you've been educated." I said, "Well, yeah, I've been educated,
Yeah,
you know, in the college and everything."
Right.
You know?
I would hope so.
Yeah, and I'm like, "What does that have to do with anything?" She was like, "Well, you don't talk like everybody else." And I'm like, and I was like, "Well, you know, my parents taught me, you know, and my teachers, you know, pronounce my words and everything."
Right, facts.
And I was like, "Well, it blew me because I'm like," and she got to be everything 60 years old. You know,
Yeah.
she's 60 years old. I'm like, so you have never talked to a young man, and he is pronouncing his words and talking to you, you know, with good grammar and everything.
Right.
And it kind of like shook her a little bit, I guess, because it was new to her.
Right.
But then again, she was almost rude to me.
Because you sounded.
Because I sounded
you didn't sound
like what she had been hearing
in the
before.
hood. I don't know what you want to call it. I always say black folks, African Americans, whoever, have to speak two different languages. Because I feel like we can be.
You're at the code switch.
We can be around our own people and we can talk. We can talk that talk. But if we need to be.
Yeah.
Quote unquote professional, even though I don't know what that word really means to be professional. I just feel like you just carry yourself a certain way. But I feel like if you need to get somewhere or get something done, you know how to switch and be.
I think it's just American dialects, because black people, we speak with the.
Well, the English this dialect is retarded anyway. I think.
I'm introverted and like I don't project my voice, but there's an energy, like, you know, when black people are around, because we loud, and like you gotta question whether somebody angry, like the way that we talk to each other, it's aggressive.
Yeah, we are aggressive. Yes.
So you have to listen. Like, is he mad? Oh no, they know each other. They see each other a minute.
Right.
But if you're not from around that, then you wouldn't know that. You're like, oh shit, something finna happen.
Yeah.
And you confused because you're not comfortable. Now, if you someone older and black and you listen to someone not speaking that way, then to attach that primarily to white people is unfortunate, but at the same time it's like, I don't know, it'd be different if you was like, I was speaking culturally, like using words that were attached to like from another country in the past and this and that, but if I'm just speaking in a way that you can understand me, that everyone can understand me, opposed to like just us, and to give that to white people, it's like, and what do we have? Like,
Right.
Yeah. Now, do you feel? Now, I'll say that one later. Now, okay, I had this conversation with. I think I spoke with Tasha about this, but do you think black people can be racist?
Yeah, everybody is racist. If I don't remember where I got this from, but like somebody, I want to say it was a TV show, but like if I was trying to sell some Tony Braxton tickets, like I'm not going to anybody white. That's racist. I don't mean that white people don't like Tony Braxton, but I know somebody black's gonna want them tickets. But if I got like Janis Joplin tribute band, I'm not going to anybody black.
Right.
Unless I know you like hippy dippy.
Now is that but see, is that racist or is that just being prejudiced though?
That's racist because I'm choosing the race. I didn't even like think about Hispanics or Asians.
Right.
I just made it white and black because I know that that's the easiest route. But I wasn't doing it to be negative. I was doing it to be effective.
Okay.
There's positive racism and negative racism. If you're excluding somebody because you're being ignorant, then that's the negative racism. But like if you're trying to strategically look at your audience and understand what this is going to affect, like things that we're working on, everybody can watch it, but we know who's going to be the core of that audience.
Right.
You're being racist.
Okay.
But you attach one meaning to that word, because if I say I'm an addict, you could think of like a junkie, but I could just mean I love music obsessively.
Right.
I'm still an addict, but it has two different connotations. It's the same with racism. Like we look at America as a racist country, which we are, but the world is racist. If I went to another country, granted I'm like a different nationality, but if I went to China or Japan, I stand out because of my fucking race.
Yeah.
So either you gonna embrace me or you gonna be like you're different and exclude me. I don't know. Like,
yeah. I appreciate it because that damn shit was like, you can't be racist to white people. Not what they did to us. Fuck that. And see, a lot of people
can be. There's justification to it to an extent, but that doesn't mean that you can't be racist to them.
Right. Because I got somebody at work that she says she's like, she told me the other day, she was like, her daughter came in and he was like, yeah, he don't like white people. And I'm like, no, it's not that. Like, my sister-in-law is white. I love her to death. She take care of my kid, or take care of my brother's kids, and is raising my nephew, her nephew that they had. Like, no, it's just, I know certain ones that, it's not that I don't like them, because it is what it is. It's just some of them I know that they have, and it might be that, and it might be with me. Like I say, like I was raised half my life in the South, and half of it was on the West Coast. So me being here on the latter part of my life, I didn't catch up. I was late. I was late to the party compared to people that was raised here. So with me now catching up and understanding a lot, it's more so, no, they're trying to, some of them are trying to act like nothing ever happened. When the fact is, civil rights was not that long ago. It was literally, and there was some that was marching with Martin Luther King or that was with Malcolm X and stuff. There was some that were like that. But to act like nothing ever happened and to try to wipe things under the rug, to me, I just like to pull out the obvious of like, no, like, I'm sorry, like, because I feel like we're going to that, I feel like we're going in that direction generational wise, as in when my daughter gets 5-6 years old, even though I'm going to teach her about our history, I feel like it's not going to be in no curriculum in schools. You're not going to know anything about anybody except for the ones that continue to, unless if you go to a HBCU, then it's different, but you're only going to know the Malcolm X, the Martin Luther Kings, the Rosa Parks, you know what I mean? Not to say that Rosa Parks really didn't do anything. She just so happened to be president of the NCAA and was sitting in the back of the bus because the first person that really got in trouble was a little girl that sat in the back of the bus. But because Rosa Parks was who she was, she got garnered the headline more. You know what I mean?
Was it because she was, I could be wrong, but was it because she, I hate that, I don't know her name, but Cause she was like underage mother or something like that.
I don't know if that I couldn't tell you. I just know she was a little girl that sat in the front of the bus.
Yeah.
That was the first one that was the one that was set the example. It was just that Rosa Parks was, I don't think she was even the president of the NAACP, sorry, but she was with she was with it. You know,
these are the brand.
Yeah,
because
she was there. So that's why I kind of, because I feel like that's where we're headed. Is they're trying to cut everything out of the curriculum. It's bad enough we don't know our history. It's bad enough we don't know our history. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So that's where I was. Like I said, you can't be racist to white people. I get it. I'm prejudiced. I don't like I don't like black people half the time too. I don't like white people half the time. Like I'm just.
All right.
I don't like humans in general half the time because we're ignorant people.
All right. So
we're ignorant as a whole.
Right there. We don't look at ourselves as humans. We always look at the race when we talk. So you can't just say, I don't like that person,
right.
And then it doesn't have to be about the skin.
Right.
It's always the skin first, and then we dive into the person. I'm ready to get to the point where it's Star Wars, and like we start getting green and purple people, and it's like, I can't love you because our babies can't be created because genetically we're from two different planets.
Yeah.
Like
then we will all have to be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Look the same.
But even then, like, I mean, I'm not gonna go down that route.
Why?
Because then it's not gonna be about Black History Month.
No, I mean we're on that. I mean it's about Black history.
Speaking planetarily, like I don't have the ability. I do have the ability to scale it down. Like I'm in the region of the South of North of America, but I don't have the ability to not look at Earth.
Right.
If shit really went down, are we gonna represent as Earthlings or are we black? I'm gonna become an Earthling super fucking quick.
Right.
Oh, Billy Bob over there with all the guns, he gonna have to hold it down. Hopefully he don't aim it at me.
But
and
has
he
somebody
understands
else's
the bigger picture.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Now we see the bigger issue. Like,
I think no, I don't know.
I don't know why I said Billy Bob, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. That's a good question. I wouldn't. Nah.
Because every time I bring it up, speaking about Earth,
right?
Like as a whole, like if shit went down,
would you?
And we had to deal with what we created for ourselves as human beings with now another species. Like, are we gonna be down for the cause, or is it gonna be like the first Night of the Living Dead, where like all the white people had to decide, like, do we want to chill with this black dude, or are we gonna kill the zombies and the black dude?
Right.
For no damn reason.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm telling you, man.
What about the whole? Do you think there is a disconnect now between our generation?
Yep.
And the older generation, as in for African Americans? Do you think there's a big disconnect?
I think it is a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Because I won't do it myself. Getting older.
Right.
You know, I think you have to learn how to not be so judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've experienced that myself.
Right.
From older.
Right.
From older people.
Right.
Not knowing what kind of music I do.
Yeah, they just assume.
They
assume that you're straight into. Yeah.
I'm a rapper.
Right.
I cuss a lot.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to rap, you know.
Yeah.
And I sing.
Right.
And hell, I sing.
Right.
Motown.
Right.
And I think some older, when they look back on the younger generation, they see, okay, well, we did this, and now they are totally doing something different. And they don't see some of us that have
influence.
It's
part of our foundation.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah. What about you? What do you think?
There's definitely a disconnect. Because I see it the most in, so like, alright, we're millennials, so then our parents are like Gen Xers.
No,
and then
wait.
behind them is baby boomers.
I think so.
So like if you look at it from there, like there's more of a connect between boomers and Gen Xers because there was a, and if I'm wrong, call me out on it, comment wise on this, but it felt like things were developing together. Music, culturally, like not so much racism went away, but like when King and X got killed, even white people was like, whoa, that's
Right.
fucked up.
Right.
Kennedy got killed, black people was like, whoa, he
This
was
is
an ally.
Yeah.
Shit kind of shifted, and then black people got more proud, and then you got like black exploitation. Everybody started wearing their hair natural, got shikis and stuff, and like we weren't hiding it. And then you move to the '80s where the Gen Xers kind of evolved, and then like it just became about money. It wasn't really about race. It's just race hierarchy. Hierarchy wise in business or whatever, but it wasn't really about this and that outside of like the crack epidemic.
Right.
Then we come along as 80s babies, 90s babies or whatever, and then the internet just threw a monkey wrench into everybody's situation, because that completely threw us in a different age
Right.
compared to them. We know that and this, and we watched it happen and
Right.
continually. They don't know shit. To them, they were up here while this is happening, just like, all right, well, whatever, and we're just like feeding into it,
right?
and we're just a product of the world that they created for us, and they don't. It's crazy to me because, like, all right, speaking through hip hop, you'll listen to like somebody be like, I can't listen to these mumble rappers or whatever, and like talk down to them. But then it's the exact same thing people were saying to people who's doing hip hop when it first started,
Right.
because it, to some extent, was attached to disco, because you had to get those breaks and something from. They weren't going to soul first.
Yeah.
As much as people ripped off James Brown, they was going to fucking disco first.
Yeah.
And a lot of that music was simple. I fucked with Curtis Blow, but like all he wanted to do was make people dance, and it's extremely simple.
Yeah.
And the way that they was dressing, let's just look at them album covers and like let's keep it funky.
Yeah.
So like there's always a disconnect between generations, but there's like a huge gap between ours and the one before us. And then just bringing that back to like being black, like no one, I'm gonna say no one, but a lot of people weren't really schooling or being like, did you know this or did you know that?
Yeah.
I feel like it just became about, you need to dress this way, and you need to get this education, and you need to be this type of person career-wise, because we didn't get to. So then you got people striving in our generation for black excellence, so we can be in the forefront again, opposed to listening to what your heart wants, doing that, and then being black, showing that you can do what you want to do, and that's actual freedom. So if you actually want to be a lawyer, or you actually want to be a doctor, or you actually want to be something that's to the community, and you just so happen to be black, where now we got black people to look at them actually being free. But if you just doing that because you're black and you feel like you're supposed to,
Right.
you just doing something somebody fed you. And then you have like the masses of people who don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's just of the zeitgeist that is happening because of technology and the internet, that we're basically just examining as it's happening, because none of us know what's going on because we in it.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at something when you write up on it opposed to when you fall away from it, like, okay, this is what happened. Because if you look at the hippies, I feel like millennials are the closest generation to the hippies, where we looked at the structure, what was happening, and be like, nah, fuck that. And then our whole look and the way that we move changed. A lot of us self-medicate because of what was happening back then, and we don't know how to deal with shit. We're a generation of divorce, so we don't really fuck with love and all this other kind of stuff, and that affects things, which affects music, which affects the projection of it.
Now, do you think, speaking on because of divorce and growing up in a single household, me personally, I have both parents, but do you think that disconnect with the generational thing, do you think that's because of white people? Because the more so of like in the 1920s, the 1910s, 1920s, black businesses was the shit. You couldn't touch us. We had our own businesses. Everything was booming. I mean, we were dressing like we always had style. But in the 1920s and 30s, it was blacks was just on a different wave because they had their own black businesses and everything, black-owned banks, and then.
Do I need to plug this heater up? You good?
You good?
I'm gonna let you.
He's chilly. Because you know why he's chilly? It's because he got a suit on. He got a suit on. Maybe I should have told him
to be outside,
to
man.
get a peacoat and wear it. But I didn't know he was going to dress like this. I didn't know he was going to come clean like this. You know what I'm saying? But this part is brought to you by Comfort Zone heater. It's a beautiful, small, very affordable heater that can do the job.
We don't miss the beat because we got the heat.
You say it right.
Yeah, boy.
G gets his.
Come on, G.
G get us heated up. You know what I mean?
I don't think the disconnect is because of white people. I think the disconnect is because of all people. I think
But do you think they kind of
I think the last generation had expectations on both ends. I feel like certain white people expected for white people to wave the flag to keep black people oppressed, and I think black people expected for younger black people to take over. And we collectively as a generation realized that we want to do what the fuck we want to do. And some people still picked up on the racism side, and some people picked up on the excellent side, but for the most part, we just understand on a bigger scale because of technology, the possibilities of being a human being, and that we don't understand what's going on in this thing called life, and that there's bigger shit than hating each other. And I feel like, alright, you got memes, you got gifts, you got texting, you got smartphones, you got all this shit that changes the variables of how we exist as beings. Like, we have simple tools that we use, but these tools are so drastically different than anything from the past. Like, everything from now is from here on. There's nothing that compares to back there.
Right.
So, and they created that for us. So they created the disconnect because we understand what they don't, even though they put it here. They meaning boomers or whoever. So if we can connect on a human level, we can connect on certain pains and all that kind of shit. But if, with the one grandmother I have here, if I'm trying to explain to her a situation with like courtship with a female, I gotta create the whole variable of being ghosted, and like I text her but she didn't respond, and then like this amount of minutes went by in silence, and then I looked at her Facebook feed and all. It should be like, what is this language you're speaking about?
Right.
We're in a completely different time, everything to where white or black, the disconnect is just we've evolved into a thing. There was a point in time where like beings were like Homo sapiens, and behind us there's like hominids or whatever. I feel like we're moving towards something else that's different beyond humans. And we're going to get to a point where race, especially with how many biracial relationships and people exist, is going to get to a point to where now there's another race being created to where cultures have to clash.
Right.
So like racism is going to become something different than what it is, and the disconnect, I think, it's less of a disconnect and it's more of like that break of we are no longer this, we're now becoming that.
Okay, because I asked that because of the simple fact of with us, like you said, the divorce, we don't know how to love, or we don't like the. It's not that we don't know how to love. We don't know how to show it.
You don't know how to accept it.
Or accept it or
We don't know
express
how
it.
to. We don't know how to be human to understand the vibrations that we give off of each other.
And I said that because of that, if you felt like it was white people that did the disconnect, because like I said, the 30s was black owned businesses, black owned banks, and then they went in there and they destroyed it, and then we never got back to it. Some of us have, but we don't know how to. We don't know how to help each other. Like, it's always with us. It's what's the handout? Like, you know what I mean? It's not like, all right, you know what? I got your CD. Here's $5. Boom. I'm happy for you. Move on. You know what I mean? Now it's like, so
what have you done for me
right,
lately?
can I get that from you? Know what I mean? And then it was, they broke that. Then it was, I know, I was listening to David Banner I think a year ago, and he had said something on a podcast or show, I can't remember, and he said that the worst thing that happened was integration with school, because it went from us teaching us things and how we have to maneuver to white people teaching our kids, and then not filling their heads, but teaching them more about their culture and less about our culture. And then it's like a repeated door. In the 50s and 60s, it was you had the civil rights started happening, and that's when blacks, or well, I hate saying blacks, us African Americans started to be like, okay, this isn't right. We need to start marching. We need to start speaking out and everything. Then you had the 70s. The 70s was kind of, I feel like the 70s, like you said, because the 70s was the hippie era and everything. The 70s was kind of, it was still kind of bad for us, but it seemed like it was tilting to where it was going to be, everybody was starting to get on an even playing field.
Yeah.
And then it felt like, okay,
moving on up.
Right. And then it felt like white people were kind of looking like, oh, wait a minute. They're starting to get back to feeling like they're, like in the 20s and 30s, they're starting to feel like they're back on top. Okay, then the 80s came and they said, all right, look, what we're going to do is we're going to go to a different country, and knowing blacks don't know anything about going to a different country at the time to get things, but we're going to go and get this drug real quick and drop it in the hood or the projects of New York and Harlem and all over, and let's see what happens. The Reagan era. Let's see what happens with this newfound drug that we have. And then it hit, and then that's when we had the crack epidemic, and then that's when they started taking the male figure out of the household, and then it was the single mother raising, and then you have the black male that's been incarcerated for 25 years, which I feel like if you did something wrong, black or white, whatever, you should do your time. But for you to throw them in there, and then just like with slavery, when they freed us, they didn't say nothing to us. They just freed us, and then we went to jail because it was we don't know what's good. We don't know what's going on. You're not teaching us, just like with these African American males, that if they don't have a mentor out here and they get thrown back into the streets, of course you know what they're gonna do. They're gonna try. You can't get a job because you have a record. You gotta wait damn near 5-something years to get that expunged off your record to get a job. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go back to what you know best because you gotta provide. You gotta eat out here. You gotta provide because you can't do nothing. And then you go back, and it's just like it's a repeated cycle. That's why I say, do you feel like it was? I think white people kind of, because like I said, I feel like we're, as blacks, as African Americans, like I say, I came late to this part. I came late to the party coming to the South. I came late, so now that I'm starting, and Tasha gets mad at me sometimes because she's like, wait, you're way too, but it's just like, you start understanding a lot more as you get older, as in the Bible isn't. I just found out Jesus wasn't black, or Jesus wasn't white, maybe 5 years ago, Not saying I didn't, because it didn't.
You weren't, yeah.
Because I was so
right.
I was so programmed. You see a white Jesus when you go to a church. That is Jesus.
Yeah.
Then I realized that wasn't even Jesus. That's some dude that they painted back in the day. That said, "Hey, look, we're just gonna post you up here, and
you
I don't even know, bro. You're just gonna be Jesus, all right?" And then you know what I'm saying. And then
this kind of goes back to me talking about the planet and Earthlings.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of the government, you think of white people. Because anything structurally
I think
from
J.
the
Edgar
past,
Hoover.
anything structurally from the past is white people.
Right.
So I have a skewed perspective because when I look at society in general and all the stuff with taxes and all that kind of stuff, it's like, all right, that exists, but like, if the Earth wanted to just start being like, all right, I'm tired of human beings, and we got tornadoes, storms, going from 50 degrees to 70 degrees, and like, all right, let's see if we can survive these weather changes and like volcanoes. We know what's king.
Right.
So, in that standpoint, you can attach that to white people, but I think it's. This is getting back into like the energy thing.
Right.
I think it's beyond. It's attached to color, but I feel like there's something cosmically attached to racism that we don't breadcrumb back to where it starts. Ultimately, which is. Anything, the human brain creates fear when it doesn't understand something.
Facts.
So, somewhere along the line in humanity, once everybody left Africa and people started evolving into whatever ways they evolved to whatever region they were on the planet, when they came back to people who were dark, it created fear because they thought that they were the only one that was there, and it was like, this is different.
Right.
But then at the same time, to bring up like dropping drugs in this place, you also gotta look at the fact that age was thrown out there for people who are homosexual, and that has nothing to do with race. It's a type of human being, predominantly white, but others that see something that they don't like and they find a way to abolish it. Is it predominantly white people and black? Not black people? Yes, but I don't know if it's a race thing. I think it's a race thing, but I think it's something that's grabbing. I don't know how to find the words to express what I'm trying to say. Because if there wasn't any type of structure government-wise, then it wouldn't be people with the tools to attack a specific type of person.
Right.
If it was just white and black people, I feel like it would be animalistic, and it would be like two tribes, but it doesn't feel tribal. It feels systematic.
Right.
And I feel like because we are black and we have our history in this country, because if you go to other countries, they have a different type of whatever is here. I feel like there's times where we attack ourselves because we feel like we're supposed to be a type of way because of what happened to us.
Right.
So like, if Nipsey, I mean, that was us that did that.
Yeah.
That wasn't a white person that did him. Now look at what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it
but
feels like something that would be systematic. You'd be like, yo, let's take this dude out. But for somebody, have you seen
but right, Malcolm. But again, though, because I don't know if you watched it.
I've been watching it.
Yeah, because I binge watched the shit out of it. The Malcolm X thing on Netflix. Right, on Netflix. Right, and it was us that was Nipsey Hussle. That.
And even if somebody put money behind it to make this person a illicit way to do it, they still have the choice to or not to do it, or to take that fall for themselves, or to give a heads up, or to be like, yo, I got this information, let's go ride out.
But then again, though, when they put it into your head as in, okay, if you don't do that, this is going to happen to you, to your family, boom, 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 boom. Then what are you going to do? Well, I can't let this happen to my family. All right, because if you notice, you haven't, nobody after,
not to cut you off, but just because I know I don't have the words, I just don't feel, and I would accept it if I'm wrong if it can be put out in front of me. I just don't feel that all of the problems it's predominantly, it seems, a way of white people. But I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
something bigger than that.
Right.
Because there's other living sentient beings on this planet, and there's just a way that we react to each other. There's
Yeah.
more going on that we don't acknowledge.
Right. Facts.
So like,
Yeah.
it's just shit that I can't speak on, and I'm not gonna try to just be like, this is what it is. That like, if you have something in front of me that'll change my mind, I'm 100% open to it. I extend that olive branch. Going all the way back to the Miley Cyrus thing, like I was saying, like, I watched that and I was like, man, I wish I expressed that I understand that black people were getting robbed of things that we created and not given like money or royalties or even just props. But at the same time, I don't feel like Miley Cyrus looked at that and was like, ooh, black people doing this? Word, let me take that. I think she was like, yo, I'm influenced by that. Let me do this. And bring that back to what we're saying as far as disconnect and blacks and whites and like drugs being dropped in here and jail. All of this stuff is predominantly black and white. But at the same time, I feel like it's something deeper than that.
Yeah. And and I'm gonna jump into that pool right now. I think religion got a big part in this because that disconnect, I think we could have rose together as people
Right.
and help each other out.
But we choose things that
Right,
separate us.
Yeah.
That just goes back to, well, we know, well, for people that don't know, I mean, that's why when my mom asked me, she asked me what, I told her, I don't know, like I say, the older you get, the more you're just like, I don't know if it's because when you're a child, you're kind of like,
Just accept, because you don't know what's in front of you. You're just like, oh, that's everything. That's everything.
Because now I just tell them, I'm not nothing. I'm not a Christian. I'm not the fuck. No disrespect. What the fuck is a Christian? What's a Catholic? Like, at the end of the day, rather everybody's praying to somebody at a higher power. Whether it's for good or it's for evil, somebody is talking to somebody that's higher than themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, all religion was here to do was just to separate us from the get-go. Because at the end of the day, how are we going to have 75 billion different types of books, but we're all talking about the same thing? But yet,
this one is right.
This one's right. This one's wrong. Catholics do this, but Christians don't do that. They believe in this in the afterlife, but Muslims don't believe in that in the afterlife. But it's just like,
yeah.
So that's why I just be like, look, I'm just a dude that just smokes an L and be chilling.
Yeah.
And
See,
believe into a higher power, like I said.
it's like with religion.
Mm-hmm.
All that was created way back then, you know. But the bad stuff that was done to us by by the white people race then.
Yeah.
They still gave us the book. And we accepted the book.
Right.
But hell, we still got brains now. Like, and I think it goes back to, like, we'll say, okay, well, Jesus will work it out, or in Jesus' name.
Yeah.
But, and I've seen that with simple stuff.
Right.
Stuff that we can change ourselves.
Yeah, no, fact.
But we always, to put it off I think, to get it off our back, we will say, oh, Jesus will do it.
Well, that's because I feel like with us saying Jesus got to, or God would take control of it, just goes back to when we were slaves and we had no choice but to believe that He's going to take care of it. Because at the end of the day, yes, they gave us the book, and we had the book, and we were good with the book. Well, no, we weren't good with the book because when we came over here, we couldn't read.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us the book, we couldn't read until Nat Turner read, and then
even if you could read,
even if you
killed for it.
Right, and then if you could read, they either killed you, or with Nat Turner, okay, I need you to go to this part of the South and read, but I don't want you to read the Bible. We're going to take this part that says master, obey your master, obey this, and that started systemically putting in our brains that, okay, white people, this, they're our masters, we have to obey and I think that's where the disconnect with blacks come in too, because you had the blacks that were fuck the Bible. The Bible tells us, because we couldn't read, the Bible's telling us we have to obey our master, and the white person is our master. Da da da. And then you had the ones that were in the field or whatever that, because certain parts in the South, their slavery was either, if you were in the Deep South, which is Alabama, Georgia, I think South Carolina is considered the Deep South.
I'll say South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi.
It's the deepest South. Down there, it was brutal. Like, it was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Tennessee, North Carolina, it wasn't as brutal as it was down there. So they were able to be out in the fields, and they would get together and they would sing spiritual songs, as in opposed to the Deep South, where all they heard was obey your master. If you don't obey your master, this is what happens, until Nat Turner kind of started reading, hey, look.
I still feel like that's cultural, because like black people are always attached to music. You're gonna hum something, you're gonna beat on something.
Right.
There's gonna be some type of a rhythm because of us, and when we move and all that. It's just in us. But all right, so we trying to bring this back around to like Black History Month and like bring.
Yeah, I know I called it. I know I called it, but it's just it is still all attached to it at the end of the day, right?
Like speaking on religion and how like that was given to us, like we don't have a lot of stuff, but we don't all go out of our way to create our own stuff. We take the template that was forced on us and we keep moving forward. So like if I was to look at the past, speaking in like the 1900s, speaking about Motown, like that transition from 50s, 60s, and the 70s, where people start wearing their hair natural. In order to be accepted, people would process their hair and dress a certain way, so you look like a white man. That is what I feel like is being projected on a lot of black people as far as black excellence. Yeah, if you act this way and you dress this way, then you're a proper black man, opposed to not down in myself, but like I keep it simple for me to be on set. But if I was to walk into a job, you're gonna look down on me for what's on the outside and what's on the inside. And that's not even race, but it's the same energy. Right. I feel like it's something in us and human beings. Like our eyes connect to things first. And if we don't understand it, opposed to trying to, we deflect from it or we attack it. That's a scaling it down outside of humans and looking at atoms and shit. I feel like scientifically that's what things do. Right. Germs and stuff. They attach to it, they attack it, or they try to bring it, or they just leave it alone. I feel like it's, if we were to scale out and look at ourselves as like atoms or ants or whatever, for whatever reason, the genetic difference that makes us have melanin and white people have less of it or none, there's something way more deep down within us genetically that forces our brains to create fear opposed to curiosity. And that, I feel, is the root of where we can figure out where racism is actually coming from. But we don't look at it from that angle. We look at it from books and pictures and videos. Like, it's easy. This is a fucking loaded conversation, man, because it's all over the place. Because on one end, you want to resolve it, but at the same end, you want to resolve racism in America between blacks and whites, but at the same time, you have to look at blacks and blacks and whites, and whites have to have talks with whites, like Phoenix.
Yeah.
Like he called everybody out. He had a platform that said you gotta have whites having that, but then you have to have blacks looking at blacks. Beyond just like, yo, we gotta come up and more or less be like, so what do we want to do outside of just being black and just being human beings? And then how can we just through doing that? If I looked at Basquiat, although he was represented for black people, wasn't no black people like him doing art like that. Yeah. But because of my light skinned acne having nappy ass hair, I could look at him and be like, oh, I can be an artist. but it's less of the fact of like I'm black, you black. It's like you the way you moving and the fact that you have that body, I know that it's possible.
Right.
Opposed to looking at someone who's standing next to a white person doing better or the same thing a white person is doing and like, all right, well that's where we're supposed to go, and then this is how we solve racism because now we're doing the things that white people were doing, opposed to I was dropped on the earth in this body without this predisposed judgment of all this baggage I gotta carry, and now I gotta like do this legacy thing with this skin, and like my heart's telling me I want to be over here surfing and climbing mountains and like drawing and doing all this other stuff, but I gotta hold it down for this skin,
Right.
so all of us can see this thing. But what if I did all of this, and then this would be taking us to freedom, opposed to this is taking us deeper into oppression, because now we're just doing the things that we didn't want to do, but we have to do it so we can feel even, opposed to actual freedom.
Yeah.
Then we gotta dive into like America. And then you go to America, the Native Americans is like, well, what about us? We don't even
I was
have
gonna
a
bring
month.
that up
That's
too.
right.
I was gonna bring that up too because I was talking to
It's too much, man.
Yeah, this
This is like a multi episode.
Yeah, this lady
topic.
had not this lady, but my homeowner lady. Her husband was there. He was asking what we were talking about, and I was just like, we're talking about, black, us as a people, minorities, white people done this. How do we feel them taking our culture or not accepting it at one point, but now benefiting from it, and you know what I mean. And he was talking about the Native Americans because at the end of the day, it was Native Americans here first, even though they were fighting with each other, but it was their land first. See, and that's why I say they try to act like they didn't do anything, as a majority of white people try to, and it goes like you said, and it goes back to them teaching each other and talking, having a conversation with each other. Because I know, God, I wish I remember what album. I think it was Snoop Dogg's latest album, and I can't remember the name of it. But there's a little skit where the
I wouldn't thank me.
I think so. Yeah. It was on that album, and there's a skit where a lady is talking about how the disconnect is because white people, y'all don't have the conversation with each other's history to understand why we are why we are the way we are. Because even though Jews don't get it as bad. Jews do, but Jews don't really get it as bad at the end of the day here in America.
Yeah, because they don't have the brown. Like we're the only person that's been brought here, opposed to choosing to be here.
Right, and that's why I say they try. Because you can't. At the end of the day, this country is built. The country is we built the country. Black people's built this country, hands down. And whites came over and manipulated everything. They talked to Sitting Bull and said, here is our stipulation. I know you don't understand what the fuck we're about to do to you. We're really about to, even though we're saying we're going to give you something, we're really not giving you shit. You're probably going to have 5% of your land, but we're going to
structure business.
Right. Which is business, which they didn't understand. Native Americans and them, they didn't understand. They just see, different people coming over and saying, this is how it is. Hey, you're going to be fine, even though in actuality, okay, yeah, we're going to give you some land for a casino. You know what I mean? And they came over, did that, took the land, then brought us over here to build the land, just to say that it's theirs, even though it's really not theirs. So that's why I said, I hate that they, like you said, they don't have the conversation with each other to understand why you derailed our history and derailed Native Americans' histories.
All right, so
as well.
Now, speaking from the perspective of a man, if as men we have to accept that we oppress women,
no,
we don't have that conversation with each other. Mm-hmm. So I have to look at, or I choose to look at white people in that same vein of our generation of like, that's a weight that we have to hold, but we can do that within. If I'm blessed to have a daughter, you have a daughter,
It's
being able to change that.
It's a whole different process.
It's way more weight for a white person now to be like, to look at that and be like, all right, I gotta fix that.
Yeah.
Like, we have to somewhat put ourselves in their
No.
shoes
We have to.
accept
No.
the fact that is a they have to fix that.
Right.
That is. I'm of plethora of reasons of why I'm glad I'm black. It's predominantly for that one.
Yeah.
I'm glad that is not attached to
any
any of my history.
Right.
But at the same time, unfortunately, because we were slaves, we get to have a brighter future. The only way I feel like white people's future can be, well, I'm not saying that the future isn't bright, but the only way that their future can be more appreciated is if they take that path and then come up off of that.
Right.
We've been put in a situation to where we can grow from slavery and all we can do is get better. They
started out on top
and have to, and if they come up off of that and then we somewhat find each other and this is like, all right, we good from that.
Yeah.
And then that goes all the way back to me talking about in a planetary way, because I don't see pit bulls beefing with Labradors because their hair is long. It's just like a dog is a dog. Like, I don't even know if they have that idea in their head of like, you're different than me. Outside of like territory, which is animalistic.
Yeah, which we're like that too. Yeah, territorial.
It's something embedded in us where our eyes see something different. Hair, skin, the way that we're structured, like, it makes us want to attack it more than be curious about it. And then when we are curious, that's still borderline racist, because then it's like when you touch your hair, and then that's a cringy thing. And then
just sit down and talk.
Or just like certain conversations where it's just like, I could be mad at you, but I know you're blind, because I can tell by what you're saying
that
you weren't put in a situation to where you can understand that you're being ignorant. Having a conversation with some people about black people having to cut their dreads in situations. Like, y'all don't even have to, that's not even on your radar of, like, unless you were like talking about in the 60s when people started growing their hair out and it was like, oh, what's wrong with you? Are you a Nancy or whatever because your hair is long, because you associated long hair with being female? Even Rastas, when they were growing their hair, black people were looking at them as like, that's the devil, because like it's the hair of whatever. But that's pointing someone out who's specifically different than you. Like, what if that's a part of their religion, or that's a part of like you're choosing, like, you're not making somebody who wears the wraps, you're not making them take that off.
Right.
But you know that's attached to the culture. Y'all not growing dreads because you can, but it's not attached to any white culture. It's attached to black culture.
Yeah. I got mad at that whole cutting your dread.
So like, I had to like calm myself down. It was like, well, you're this race and you're that race, and you're looking at it from the standpoint of, well, if in a contract it says this and that or whatever, you can't have the job. It's like, obviously, I signed the contract, which means I agreed, because you see it, which means that I'm choosing to take the sacrifice. But if I'm wrestling, and I've been wrestling, and I got to this match, and then you chose before I can even start it to cut my hair,
bro,
you can't bring this contract shit up to me because of this. That was a choice, and no one around them was like, nope, opposed to their choice.
What? Man, I would have raised fucking hell. They probably would have arrested me that day, because I would have went ape shit. What? You want me to do what? So, we're all the way in such and such month, and we're in the state finals, and I've been doing this for the last 3 months, and then all of a sudden you're telling me I gotta cut my dread. And did I not just see you 2 months ago, and you was my rep?
And as much as that's a race thing, it's also they knew this man was gonna win, so they tried to put him in a situation like, I bet you won't do that. And he's like, I bet y'all will. I'm gonna beat his ass while I'm crying, and still fucking win.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. to try to bring this back to Black History Month, like I had a certain point in my life to where not so much I didn't want to know Black history, but I wanted to create history from within this black skin, because most of our history is attached to all the shit that we said. So you can't talk about Black history without talking about the fuckeries of what we have to deal with in this country. And I'm not even 100% sure if we're the only country really that has Black History Month. I don't know if we go anywhere else and it's like, this is Black History Month.
I don't.
So then I just feel like the structure of Black History Month frustrates me because it compartmentalizes all history as if ours is separate. Which I don't even, like, I get that, but like, we choose to accept it to be within this month.
But we came up with Black History Month, though.
All throughout the year.
We came up with Black History Month. I couldn't tell you.
Like, I understand the structure of it being created, but I still feel like, because once you get out of Black History Month, it feels the same way as getting out of Valentine's Day. Like, all right, well, I'm over that. Like,
it was over. Yeah.
Opposed to like,
it was just there to make us. It was just there to make us feel good.
So I feel like it's not doing what it was there to be created for anymore.
Yeah, it was there to make us feel good.
Like, if I was a teacher, I'm talking, and I'm not just going to recycle the same Martin King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks. I'm bringing, and then obviously 2008, it's like, all right, well, let's throw Obama in that.
Yeah.
I'm bringing up Nipsey. I'm bringing up Kobe. I'm bringing up Basquiat. And then, people would hate me for saying this, I feel like you have to bring up certain white people in Black history that deserve to be within our rafter banners of like, that was an ally. This is Black history. Because white people are, or any other races, we got to bring up a Hispanic person that's like, this was an ally because culturally they did this within some type of meal or some type of music or some type of TV show where they put us on and all this other kind of stuff. Or like, it's too inclusive. It's not human enough. It's not American enough. It's not African enough. It's not. I don't know. I'm not satisfied with Black History Month. That's what I'm saying. It could be so much more than what it is.
Facts.
And it's not. So I'm just kind of about it.
Well, that goes back because it's only when you're in Black History Month, like you said, you only talk about Martin Luther King. You might get a little bit of Malcolm X, but you can't get too much Malcolm X. And Malcolm X was a little bit violent, letting you know by any means necessary. So they might they'll throw it in there a little bit, but majority of Black History Month, well, when I was in school, majority of Black History Month was Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. But we might throw in George Washington Carver real quick. We'll throw in Thurgood Marshall real quick. We'll throw in Frederick Douglass a little bit. Maya Angelou. We'll throw in that. Harlem Renaissance. But every day is going to be Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. 90% of the month. Because at the end of the day, I can't remember when it was. Like I said, the older you get, the more you you really want to understand your history. And you really want to understand, like, okay, what part of Black am I? Like, do I have a little bit of Ethiopian in me? Do I have a little bit of Nigerian in me? Because you start to want to understand that stuff.
My mom made me do 23andMe. I'm I got African as fuck and like this much like French and English.
Yeah, I gotta do
this
mine.
much Native American.
I definitely gotta do mine. And she, but they
Then after that, it's gonna be Clone History Month. So I feel like they take all our saliva and they just duplicate it.
Oh, that's all
not
they do.
here nor there.
Yeah. Believe that's for a different topic. Trust and believe that's for a different topic, a different day. But
I am. But now we in us.
Right. So. Facts. But I don't know what I was doing one year, and I just happened to just stumble upon, and I'm just looking like it's sad. It's sad in a way because we, as a whole, don't understand literally what we've done in America, like point blank, period. Like besides the whole picking cotton and being in the fields and stuff. Like we fucking
We created a bunch
we
of.
created damn near everything. I'm sorry. Yeah, y'all might have created the cars, but y'all damn sure wouldn't have been able to stop, slow down, or go if we wouldn't have done the traffic light. Your kids wouldn't have fun with a super soaker if we wouldn't have created the super soaker. You couldn't have peanut butter and jelly if we wouldn't have created the peanut and peanut butter. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much. We're so disconnected, and maybe that's what gets me so upset and angry. And it gets me mad living here sometimes because you can, and I've always told people this, like, not everybody, but I know people that have been here their whole life and never fucking left the state of North Carolina or even left their city. Like they've just been here. They might have went to, I wouldn't say their city, they might have went to another town 2 hours away or 2 hours away, but they've never left here. And it's like, you can't educate yourself and understand who you are if you don't leave. You don't gotta leave your area for good, but go out there and understand that what we've done as a whole, as African Americans, as Black people, because sometimes that whole African American thing, I get people like, well, you're African American.
No, I'm Black. Because Black represents all the colors. Right. And it sounds cool.
Right. You know what I mean? It does. And then that's another thing that be making me mad, that they try to make Black like this bad because of us. They make everything bad, like even though black licorice is disgusting, but they make black licorice. You know what I'm saying? Like everything. If you notice, like everything black is
negative.
It has a negative connotation to it. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Like majority of it, if it's black, there's just that. You get that about it, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta wear black to a funeral. Like, what? Like, that had to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And that's why I don't go to funerals. Like, when my granddad, or not my granddad, when my aunt passed away, like, I'm not going to the funeral. I'm sorry. Why? Why are we all wearing black? Like, it's already bad enough that the person has passed away, but now we're gonna wear black for all of us to be sad and black. Now, when I die, please don't wear black. Wear white, yellow, purple, green. I don't give a fuck. Just don't wear black. And if you do wear black, make it a little bit of black, not everything black. Unless if you can pull it off and you're just, you know what I'm saying? But that whole connotation of wearing black to a funeral is just, I don't get it. Which again, the color white, which means hope, it means peace, it means, you know what I mean, life, it means whatever. But I never, and then with us, it's like, no, you gotta, girl, you gotta wear black. You gotta wear black to the funeral. For what? Why can't I wear blue? Why can't I wear red? Why? So you can be a sore thumb sticking out? No, because I don't. It's already a sad day, and now we're all wearing black.
Yeah.
On top of us being black, and we're crying. Like, what is the purpose of it? But back to what I was saying about everybody going out and not understanding that I know people that's been here their whole life. It's just like, know what we've done, and then there's history within. Like, I didn't know about the whole Durham thing that they made the movie with Tawdry P. Henson, where she fought the board. Yeah. Like, I didn't even know that.
Yo, okay. So, getting into filmmaker mode, watching Green Book.
Oh man!
And then I was like, I watched.
I didn't even watch Green Book.
I watched Green Book, and it was like the minority was black people, and I'm watching it the whole time. I was like, that was a well-filmed movie, but this isn't what I thought it was gonna be. This just felt like 100% white savior. Then I watched what's the name of it? With Taraji.
Yeah. What is the name of that?
The one in Durham?
Yeah.
I cannot remember the name. So I need to watch it too.
I watched that, and that was predominantly black people, and I was like, this is what should have won an Oscar. This is what should have been way more magnetized, shown than this movie. Because this one was just like, I'm white, I don't care that you're black and gay and all this kind of stuff.
It's cool.
Let me lift you up. But this one was like a dude who was in the KKK who legit was put in a situation to have to figure out, like, well, why the fuck can they go through this and that? And then she looking out for my son that's mentally like,
Right.
it was, and then when he looked out for them, it wasn't just like, yo, come over and let's eat food. It was like, all right, white people turn on you, we got you. We need gas. Like it was just the story and everything that happened was way more.
But didn't
And he was taking risk.
Right.
For himself.
But didn't
This motherfucker wasn't taking no risk. He was getting paid. And
right. But
Yeah.
didn't the black person direct the one with Taji P. Henson, which will be it'll be right here. It'll pop up on the screen. Didn't a black director film that
no
one,
idea.
and then a white one directed Green Book? Because see, that's another thing that be get me upset sometimes is why is it that with our history, it's always being told from a white person's perspective? Like 12 Years a Slave. Like what the why?
What, the book or the movie?
The movie.
Was that from a white person?
I thought it was.
I thought it was from
Was it? Then again, I didn't go see it because I really don't try to watch a whole bunch of slave movies.
English guy that did Shane and
Okay,
and,
my apologies.
Widows.
Then. Okay, my apologies then. I thought it was the right person. I know the Book of Jones.
I
The
still
one
didn't
with,
care for that movie though, man.
yeah, neither did I. I know
Slave
like the
movies
one
for me.
with McConaughey was in. What was it? Book of No, not Amistad. Book of Jones. No, Joe. What was that one with Matthew McConaughey that was in it? He was in Matthew McConaughey, and he was like a white savior with black people. What was it?
Oh, the one
about
with,
Jonestown?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
Like,
forgot about it.
see, I didn't go see that one either. But I hate that with us, it's white people, or majority of white people, they are the ones that's directing our history, and then when they direct our history, it's kind of low-key watered down a little bit. Like for me, like Nat Turner, I don't give a fuck. Nat Turner should have got, well, in my world, Nat Turner would have won every damn Oscar at the thing
I
because.
disagree because I feel like that movie didn't go hard enough.
But the movie couldn't go hard enough because
it could have, but they didn't. They chose to not do that.
they wouldn't. Look, we were lucky enough he was allowed to kill white folks on the screen because damn Oprah wasn't backing him. There was a lot of our people not backing him because they said, "Hey, do you not know are you really trying to kill white people on the screen? I'm not about to give you money for this."
So now at this point, you're speaking to the filmmaker. And
I know.
Whatever your art is, whoever's telling you not to do it, you do it.
Right.
I don't want to watch a movie where I know there's going to be a slave revolt in it because I've been waiting to see that.
Right.
And like, yeah, it was beautiful and poetic, but I want to see it.
What up? Did you see Harriet?
No, I did not see Harriet.
I didn't see it because I don't feel like it wasn't raw enough. I don't want to see anything with slavery. And not just in the sense of getting whipped or cut or slave master getting beat or this. Like, I want to see something borderline stylized.
Right.
I want to see, not even just like, Django was cool, but I mean like, if I don't mean to laugh. If I could see a movie that's about wife beaters and that shit's like got me doing this because it is brutal, I want to see slaves going ham on slave masters, even if it didn't happen in history. If Tarantino can write a movie where Hitler can get shot in the face and he could save Sharon Tate's life, then we should have the ability to write movies where slaves are uplifted. We have the ability to rewrite history. Or if it is based off of history, don't sugarcoat it, even if it is still raw.
Yeah.
If you aim a cannon at a dude, do not cut away. I want to see that violence because I need it, unfortunately.
Right.
When Jamie Foxx was beating the shit I do with the whip in slow-mo, I watched that on Christmas Day in the theater. There's 2 white people next to me, and they were the only white people. And they were happy, but at the same time, I feel like they had to piss, but they knew they couldn't because if everybody saw them get up and leave, it was a wrap. But everybody in the theater, first it was like, yeah, and then it got quiet, and everybody was just like, yo, like, finally.
Yeah.
But it took a white person to do that.
Yeah.
I fucks with you, Spike, But you know you too mouthy and ballsy to not have made a movie like that, and you can't blame that on white people because you Spike Lee.
Yeah.
I don't accept that.
Yeah.
White, black, anything. If you stepping outside of yourself to tell a movie about slavery, you better tell it about slavery. The way they spoke, the violence, the gruesomeness. If Mel Gibson can make a movie about Jesus and I gotta watch a slow motion, the nail go through his hand, and slow motion, his skin will rip, you can do that with slavery. And you can tell me something dope where somebody is black sport. This is beyond me being black. This is me being an artist and a filmmaker and a creative and someone who's bored with stuff that's being created, which also creates the dialogue because art creates culture and culture dictates the way that we move as. Yeah, Birth of the Nation, I knew what I was going to see, basically. I knew what I was going to see. Because it's the same thing. It's never more. It's never expanded. It's always the same format.
I think,
to me.
like you said, I think it's too many big people. And some of us are scared to do what we want to do what we know it's right. You know, we just want to brush everything under the rug and keep it going so we can have this relationship with a certain white person that's maybe a little bit higher, you know, than where we are. But if that's the case, then nothing ever changed. Like you said, you're bored with those kind of movies now, because I think we sugarcoat them and.
Well, that's because I think we sugarcoat it because a lot of people are scared. We're scared to unwrap what like you said, you sweep everything under the rug. We're scared to reopen history. We're scared. Us are scared to reopen the past because the past was so fucking.
I don't
traumatized.
think that we're scared to open it because black people constantly talk about what white people did to black people.
But no, we can talk about it.
I think that black people don't effectively express how being black is in America because of our past. The only movie I've seen to date that made me feel the most when I saw Black Klansman and Queen and Slim.
Black Klansman was fucking
not
dope.
only did I watch those two movies, I watched Black Klansman, like watched it 2 times, other times because I worked in movie theater. I served during the employee screening, and it was like me and one other black person, and then like scattered because it was 2 in the morning, like I say 7 other white people. And everybody was like, yo, this movie's gonna be crazy. It's Spike Lee. Off top, Alec Baldwin in the beginning. That whole part. It was funny, but immediately I was like, I needed that to know what the tone was gonna be. Thank you. Yeah. The whole time, everybody was just, you know what I mean? And I'm laughing and I'm loose and all this kind of shit. And then the ending with Charlottesville, I was like, yo, this. Thank you, Spike. This is what you need to put it in people's face. Art is supposed to make you feel a way, whether you want to feel a way or not. But if you felt pain, you should have, because you were supposed to, because you're a human being. You watched another human being get ran over and like this and that. Queen and Slim, that whole movie.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I gotta go. Yeah, don't say shit about that.
Well, that whole movie, the whole audience was black. I stayed because I usually stay through the credits. Yeah. In the back seat, one white dude. The look in his face, like it was. He had to watch every black person get up and walk past him, and all of us had to look at him, and the look in his eyes was just like a combination of I'm sorry, pain, embarrassment. Like he couldn't. Fear. Like he literally, like it was beyond, he was in the back. He could have got up and left. It looked like he was stunned by the movie and then had to see all these black faces go by and we represented what he just watched. And it was like, his eyes are not lying to me. It's only, you chose to watch this movie and you chose to be in the back, so you know what you was doing. Even with fucking Get Out. White people, well, not so much with Get Out. Get Out, yeah, it's black, but it's different. But Queen of Slim,
Get Out was funny, but Get Out was that.
I don't feel like it affects white people as much as Black Klansman
No.
Like
no.
artistically, it doesn't.
We Get Out, to me, it was more so Jordan Peele wanted us to have the conversation with the screen.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Get Out was
That-
more of a mental.
Yeah, it was mental.
But
and
I mean, just like how it feels.
Okay.
How
Okay.
it feels being
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
scary to us because we know how that feels. White people can't look at that. Like even if it was
That's
just
true.
one white person and all black people, it still doesn't feel the same way because they don't have slavery, having this taken from them, this and that. It'll just be like, oh shit, I'm gonna get beat up.
Right.
Yeah.
Which every person knows how that feels. That's relatable.
Yeah.
But even like the second time I saw Black Klansman, I hate if I get his name. He was doing a tour through the company I used to work for, and they screened it. And it was mad white people there because he was there, and it was through that company and all that kind of stuff. And I watched them watch the movie. It was like, you want to have a seat? It was like, nope. I need to see the movie in this way. Everybody's enjoying it and all this kind of stuff. One woman was just like all the way down here, just like uncomfortable, like down in her seat, like oh, like I could tell her stomach was hurting. And then they got to that Charlottesville, and just every white face was just like stunned, and at the same time, like it just ended, and everybody's like kind of crying. I saw this interracial couple out in the lobby, like the girl was crying to her boyfriend, just like, I love you,
Who
but
directed
my
this?
ancestors did this to you, and he's like consoling her, but at the same time, it was
Who was the director?
Black Klansman?
Yeah.
That's Spike.
Oh, it's
It was
Spike.
fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black Klansman was Spike.
Jordan Peele
Peele
produced it.
Yeah, Jordan Peele did produce
So
it.
like, it like
Denzel Washington's son.
Yeah.
those movies, art is supposed to be effective, in my opinion. And Birth of a Nation was beautiful, but it wasn't effective. When I watched it, I knew what I was going to get out of it.
Right.
I didn't know what I was going to get out of Queen and Slim, and all the different aspects of it. And it wasn't just black people, white people. It was black people, white people, white people, white people, black people, black people. It was everybody got the blood, and everybody got lifted up at the same time. The same with Black Klansman, where they had the conversation between the black guy and the Jewish guy.
Yeah.
And you had the other, I'm assuming it was the other dude that was white that was just like, I just fuck with y'all. The other detective, like, it was a balance. It wasn't just
One.
us getting it wasn't one side, it was balanced.
Right.
And then at the same time, you still kind of had everybody getting blamed because he had to look at old girl who was super Black Panther, and she had to look at him as a cop. And then we had to have the conversation with ourselves of like, do we want to save shit or do we want to blame every like? Birth of a Nation. Granted, it's about Nat Turner and the rebellion, but if I'm gonna watch a rebellion, I want to see a rebellion. Go ham.
Yeah.
I don't want to see no build up to it. I damn near wanted to start from the jump.
But you know
and
what
then
though? I feel like
if I could watch Saving Private Ryan and I could watch somebody looking for their arm and feel like I was in war,
I
I
agree.
want to feel like I was in a rebellion.
Right. And I think with
Kill
with
these
the
slave
Indian
masters.
Nation, right.
I need to see a slave master kill. That's what I'm saying.
I think
If I don't do it or he doesn't do it, somebody please.
Yeah, but I think he did it. I think
Let me
with
get at the way y'all do that.
I think with Birth of a Nation, I think that it changed the trajectory of how to film certain things though, because everything came after Birth of a Nation with Black Klansmen, Get Out to a certain extent, Us to a certain extent, because I realized Birth of a Nation was only in theaters for a week.
Because it's low key an indie film.
Well, not even that it was an indie film. Again, he was killing. Even for us, yes, for us, he should have done more. But for them, he did way too much on the screen.
But I don't even feel like he did.
But that's because we're us. I'm telling you,
Even in the trailers, like,
when I went to go see Birth of a Nation at North Hills, I'm the only black person, and there's 5, because it was the middle of the day, 5 white people. And I'm watching it like, oh shit. Like, I knew what I was getting for me, it doesn't matter what it is. When I see slavery movies or whatever, I get into that shit of like, yo, like how, like why the fuck? My mindset is like, why the fuck, how can you live with yourself doing this to us? That's when my mindset goes.
Yeah.
Like, I get into that, I'm not even like I get sad because it's like damn, like I really get like y'all motherfuckers went through some shit for me, like because me personally, like I don't know if I would have the same personality that I have now back then, because if I had my personality back then, look, y'all kiss my ass, I'm running. If you kill me, you kill me. But I know this is not right. This is wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But to see those 5 white people in there and they're watching it, when they went to start killing the white folk, you can see on their faces like they sat back like, what? Like you can see in their faces like no, you know what I'm saying? Like no, like they knew what the movie was about, but they weren't expecting him to actually show blacks attacking and killing whites and them going after it. It wasn't cutting from like, you know what I mean? How some
that
people cut.
Just mean that like they didn't understand history.
Right, they didn't understand history, but still though, for them seeing a slavery movie and seeing whites actually getting killed dead in front of you while with the cannon, or seeing their face explode or whatever, them seeing themselves getting it done, you can see they were just like, okay, like everything else was okay, but okay, wait a minute, whoa, like, okay, this guy he's not allowed, you know, it was almost like low-key, like, he's not allowed to put this on the screen, but yeah, y'all do that with every fucking movie y'all fucking make, though, you know what I'm saying? But that's how they felt. You can feel it, because when I walked by, they were just, I watched the credits, and they did too, and I left before them, and I'm looking, and you can see they were still so stunned. The fucking lights came on. It's just a white screen, and they're just sitting there. Mind you, they were a little older too. They were older white folk, and they were just. You could see like, by the time they and they were, and I feel like they wished that it was nighttime outside, so people didn't pay attention to them. But it was day as shit, so you could see their expression as they walked out. Like, yo, I can't believe that we spent money. And we saw this because I wasn't expecting this. I fucked myself up that day because I watched that movie. Then I went to go watch 13th Amendment on Netflix. And then I just fucking... Boy,
went down the rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole. I'm telling you, like I said, I don't hate white folks, but if any white person had said anything to me that day, I probably went to jail, because I was just like, yo, I just saw that. I told my mom that. I was like, look, with our history, you can't just sit there and binge watch shit that happens to us, because you're just going to get into that... You're going to get angry. And I was like, well, I didn't realize that 13th Amendment was going to...
get a beret from, Reggie.
Huh?
Like, you're all black.
You know what I'm saying? Because 13th Amendment was like that whole repeated step of how, you know, we were slaves, and then they let us be free, but then they threw us in jail because it was a different way. Then they did the 3-strike law in California, so if you do anything wrong, a speeding ticket or whatever, you get thrown in jail. And I'm just sitting there, and I watched it, and I'm telling you, if I wouldn't have smoked that day, I promise you, I probably would have went out and probably would have been cussing out every fucking white person in the room.
I had a similar experience when I saw Blind Spotted, where it was just me and like 5 other white people.
I haven't heard
This
of
one
that.
out in the Bay with a white dude and black dude from Hamilton, where like he's on probation. And he sees a cop kill somebody, and he's just trying to get through his probation. Yeah.
Oh.
Blind Spotted. The one with they're out in Oakland.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie.
But
with the man that does the poetry, right?
Yeah.
Or rap poetry.
So,
yeah.
I
haven't seen that movie.
That's right up my that movie is stylized.
Right.
That movie feels like Oakland. It feels modern, but what they're saying and what they're showing, because it's about the gentrification of Oakland.
Yep.
It's about the difference between black and white, and the fact that there is this connection of black and white in Oakland, but at the same time the differences in like how you have the black person that acts like this, but you have the white person that acts like that. But then what police or whoever are looking for is people who act like that, but you white.
Yeah.
But because I'm black, you aiming at me. And I live down the street from this hipster who lives in this expensive house that just got flipped, and this home that used to be owned by black. Like, it's all over the place. While he's still dealing with the fact that he saw a cop kill somebody and he don't know what to do, and the way that you haven't seen it. There's a scene where the camera is basically in the person's face and he's screaming at someone. So basically, as an audience, you have to be screamed at.
Yeah.
But as an audience, if you're black, he's
Right.
not screaming at you.
Right.
So I watched them get screamed at.
Yeah.
And it went from a fun movie
To
it's a fun
serious.
movie and then and I'm
You
just
got
like,
serious real quick.
and the woman who works there was just like, both of us was kind of like, someone's like, we just watched some kids get their ass cut. Like, all right, well, there's no need to
Right.
kick you while you're down. We'll just let you
Yeah.
deal with that. And I'm just gonna go on our jolly way. So
Facts. Those are the facts. Nah,
I don't know what we're talking about anymore, but
Nah,
I mean, I
we're
think
chilling.
it all ties into Black history because
It does.
if that
Everything.
stuff hadn't happened,
Yeah.
then
we
you know,
wouldn't be where we're at.
right.
Nah,
I wish I had a picture of my granddad when he was in the Navy. Like, there's like those, I don't say yearbook pictures, but where it's
Yeah.
like, it's all white people and him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like, I looked at that picture my entire life, and just kind of like, oh, okay. Until like, and then even like in my like later, like I seen it so much, it's just like whatever. But then like after he passed, and I'm looking at it, I'm just like,
We went through some shit.
but I'm looking at this picture, and I'm like, yo, like, I know what this means,
Yeah.
and I know you haven't told me everything.
Yeah.
Like, this to me is Black history. Like, I'm connected to that person. Like, not only were you in the Navy of all branches, but like, that's water, that's boats, that's not Black people shit.
Mhm.
Like, you scuba dive, and I used to always think like, that's a luxury, but now it makes sense because you in the Navy. But at the same time, like, there's certain things that he did
Right.
where he put himself next to white people, almost on some Robin Hood shit, to bring back to
Mhm.
Black people.
Yeah.
I feel like we avoid trying to learn from the white man to bring back, opposed to just standing next to him and trying to excel next to him and be like, hey, look at me, I'm over here with white people, opposed to being like, all right, well, we fuck with soul food, but our diets kill us. Their diet doesn't kill them. All right, I'm gonna go to this kitchen real quick and I'm gonna see what they eating, and then I'm gonna figure out what we do and how to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
There's no bridges being built. There's either you go all the way over there or you stay all the way over here. There's no connections being built. I
Yeah.
always use BET as a example.
Which one?
The channel, but like not in the
No, I
sense
mean,
of,
as in like new BET or the old BET?
in general,
Oh.
or not even like saying this. Like, all right, Black entertainment.
Yeah.
Everything is Black.
Right.
If I was to create BET as a Black person, the fact that I created it, it's Black. It has no choice to. But I'm gonna have Hispanic shows, I'm gonna have white shows, I'm gonna have Black shows, I'm gonna have gay shows, I'm gonna have kid shows, I'm gonna have old people shows. To show racist white people that this is how you bring people together as a Black person, opposed to only giving to Black people. But I am, because I created this.
Right.
It's mine. Like, but then at the same time, I'm still gonna create something that's just for Black
Yeah,
people.
fact.
And if you want to eat from it and you like it, word.
Yeah.
Learn from the fact that you like this. But I'm gonna create a melting pot to bring people together, opposed to separate them, because that's what y'all did in the past. I'm doing the same thing that y'all doing, outside of like slavery and all that negativity shit. But I'm separating us from everybody.
Right.
The same way that y'all separated us from everybody. I want to pull everybody together. If I see Hispanic people don't have a voice and they can't, then I'm going to build that platform for them as a Black person because I know what they're going through. If I know I'm related to someone who's of this sexuality and they don't have a platform of voice but they have ideas, I'm going to build that platform for them like they did it. That to me is how you make the change, and that is how we should create Black history. Because we create things and then it gets taken, but we don't create things for everybody. We create things for us and then we get mad when people use it, but then we don't think to make it for everybody. We just make shit because that's,
What we do.
which that is a whole other conversation of why us, like why people with this skin tone have the ability to just, and people with that skin tone have the ability to just,
Yeah.
there's something symbiotic about that
Yeah.
because it happens. It's
Yeah.
not like,
Did it just happen once or twice? No, it always happens.
There's something to it, and we need to exploit it in a good way.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not slavery
No.
or free labor.
Right.
But then you get. This is an endless conversation, man.
I know.
And it takes you all down these other avenues and things.
Yeah, it does.
So I love doing shit like this.
Happy Black History Month, everybody.
Yeah. No, you know. That's what it is. I just like having a discussion.
I don't think it alone. I don't think it. I don't think it. It's talked about enough. Like you said, is. Yeah, we talk about it in this month, or when somebody dies, like Kobe or Nipsey or you know, and we'd be like, oh, this is what this particular black person did. And it's like,
right.
and then a couple weeks later, oh, something else is, already hot.
Yeah.
And we kind of skim across it. And I don't think these type of subjects are talked about enough.
Nah, yeah, I agree.
So people can learn as well,
Yeah, and I don't think people want. I think nowadays people don't want. I don't know. I feel like even though we have this technology, I feel like I don't know. I've been having this weird feeling like things is I wouldn't say I'm not scared of the future. It's just, and it might just be because we're in a new decade.
It's because you got a daughter.
That might be what it is too. But it's just, and it's not I'm scared for her because I know she has a good support system and she got good people around her that she'll be good.
But you can't control what's going
on
around her that's going to shape
right.
her. That's
and
not from you.
Right. Which, don't worry, like, she's definitely going to have to, she might get expelled from school. I'm just saying. Because she definitely, Tasha will be going to the parent-teacher conference because don't let me be going. And then don't let both of us be on the same wavelength. And then we both fucking, well, look, babe, sorry, me and your mom, we got you expelled. We're just going to have to find another school for you because, you know what I mean? But not even so much, maybe it is because I have a daughter now, but even, it's just the way things are going. It's weird, like you say, maybe it's because they have a daughter and it's a new decade on top of that, so you really don't know what the end of the decade is gonna be like. You know what I mean? Like where we're gonna be at as far as technology wise, housing wise, like
yeah, the future's invisible as fuck right now.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's really like even this past decade you kinda understood it in a way because technology was starting to, even though technology started in 96, but you knew that technology was going to elevate. And it seems like technology's been here forever, but technology really hasn't even scratched the surface if you really want to think about it. Even though it's been here for 15 years now.
The alien race.
You know what I'm saying? It hasn't. And I feel like now, I feel like somebody from another galaxy or whatever, because I'm one of the ones, look, if you fucking think you're the only fucking alien, period, something is wrong with you. Because yes, in this galaxy, or this solar system we're in, yes, we might be the only one because that's what we know. Because at the end of the day, we're not humans, we're really aliens. We're just technically called humans. Because there is another race, or there is another species like in some other galaxy that is either, like you say, blue, purple, green, or
not even that, just like a germ or an
atom or whatever
that's alive.
Right. So I don't know. These last few days it just feels, and then you got, you know who in the office, and then it's like, you know what I mean? Like if he gets another term, like really, what's really about to happen? Because I think there's gonna be, if he does get another term, on this day, February 17th, 2020, if he gets another term, there will be a civil war this decade while he's in office. If he gets another term, it's going to happen. Now, rather, it's going to be like it was back then type Civil War, but there's going to be a big fight among ourselves in the United States.
That's what I was about to, because I always talk about this with my wife. I was like, well, do you think there needs to be a war here?
There might be.
For
I mean, if it wasn't for
changes to be.
I mean, my brother said it when he got elected that he needed to be elected for everybody to fucking open their eyes.
Yeah, it's very apparent.
To everything, as in for blacks, for women's, for gays, for minorities in general. It opened the eye. It opened everybody's
it's like
eye.
The grand finale.
Right, for real.
We've hit Bowser. It's like America. You can either stay on this side
or you can go on this side, and it really
we got Obama, and it was a palate cleanser, and everybody hated him, and now we got this dude,
and it's
like, whoa,
yeah, and really for real, it's like
way too much of a
right,
step back.
like, and now it's like, okay, depending on what happens, is we can either go this way, and society will be this certain way, or we go this way and society is a different way. It really is all dependent on what happens at the end of this year.
I don't know. I'm not. Well,
and that might be because I smoke a lot of weed, so I kind of go into that stratosphere a lot.
Well, I don't smoke a lot, but I vape enough. But I don't. When I look at people like Yang, and like when I look at Andrew Yang, that's a glimpse that someone can get to a place to say things openly. That lets me know, like, oh, okay, we're just waiting for that next.
Right.
Like, not even bring it to the Matrix, but I'm aware that there's someone that's not in front of the camera that is their purpose
is to be where they're
in that sense, I'm not tripping. Especially with Trump being like, I can sense it in the atmosphere. I'm sensitive in that way that, like, I get tired of hearing him, but at the same time I understand that even though he has say for things that happen, he's just a puppet.
Oh yeah.
And if Americans actually understood how to play the game that is politics, as soon as he won, we should have immediately been like, all right, well, you won this round, let's fill the house up with Democrats or liberals or whatever, and now you have to go to them, instead of being like, oh, we lost, and then not even paying attention to that next year for that. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I hate politics because I understand the rules in the very, very basic sense of, like, old buddy just came out with that song breaking stuff down. It's like, you can pay attention to that, but this is just giving you distraction. All of this that's underground, this is what's actually the fucking. You been watching enough G.I. Joe to know that the fucking villain is just the face. You gotta wait and climb down the hole to get all the way down to the fucking.
Oh, yeah, I was just about to say that, man. The dude was in the classroom.
Yeah.
Rap, yeah, man.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that, man?
I don't think I saw that.
Oh man,
I ain't too much on Paw Patrol.
I always started. But at the same time, it's like when I was like in the 7th grade, when I learned about the branches of when I learned about veto and the branches of
the government.
Yeah, I was like, because my perspective was always the president is like king shit. That was my reality, and I was like, oh, he can be kicked out. And it was like, oh, like, what is a veto?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and what do they do? I was like, oh, I don't give a fuck about none of this shit then. Y'all was just lying to me the whole time at 12. And I didn't care.
Sorry. I need to. They say I should vote, but I really don't, because at the end of the day, electoral colleges make the votes.
But even then,
president is decided in November.
And like the whole time when Trump was running, or not even with Trump, all the way back to when it was like how many ever candidates before it was just Trump, Hillary, Bernie, and whoever else. From the jump, I will always say, but what if as a country we didn't vote until we had candidates that we 100% all agreed on? And everybody just be like, yeah, but this person, I'm like, no, like I'm trying to have this conversation. Like, what if we didn't? I don't feel like, try to bring this back to Black history, like we don't, I feel like changes are being made that are forced, but actual changes aren't being executed. Like, if you look at, speaking from a political sense, there was a point in time where presidents could be the president forever until they stopped and was like, nope, let's do this. You get 2 terms, 4 years. Everybody's like, all right, we agree on that. That was change.
Yeah.
The fact that that happens means that things of that nature can happen again. We do minor things that build up over time that when we look back, it's like, we did that bill, we did this thing, we did that. But we're not actually doing any changes that correlates to what is happening.
Yeah.
Going back to religion. The Bible is written within a time period that we can't even identify with. If we got in a time machine and went to any of those times, all of us, not only would we die immediately, we wouldn't understand how to take care of ourselves medically. Everybody would probably die from boredom because there's no type of stimulation from the internet or memes or like texting or any of this stuff. The Bible hasn't even been brought up to date or any type of book of religion. If you really gonna live by religion, I feel like you should evolve it with what's happening in the world that can't be predictable.
But the
Same with Black history. We keep recycling all history.
Yeah.
We recycle the same shit and we stay within the bubble of that mind state and we don't stay with what's happening now and then say, all right, we remember that we were built off of this. This is what's happening now. Damn, that person died, or damn, this person invented this, or damn, that person said this, that became a quote. This person need for that. This person did this thing that was wrong that made us think about this, da da da. This person got killed, was led to, you know what I'm saying? Like, even with trending, cops have been killing Black people forever, but until
internet.
the internet showed a death and people reacted to it, and then another one, now it's a trending thing. And I think that's something chemically within people that it's the way that we exist isn't being examined in a proper way, I feel, and we just go with the flow. And sometimes you have to, sometimes in the aspect of I know what I have control over or not, like this fucking crazy weather and teenagers looking way physically older than what they are than they're not, but then at the same time it's because of what we put in the food and all this kind of shit, or like saying stuff out loud, but then this shit you can't control. I lost my train of thought, but I just feel like we haven't truly evolved within the time.
No, hell no.
And we keep my homie Russell said this in the lyric, to some extent, he's like, he keeps us back to the future, but he's moving forward, so he's looking that way as he's moving backwards, which I feel like is good, but then a lot of times I feel like we don't even look to the future to put good in it, and at the same time, we just keep bringing the negative and throwing it forward and then walking in the negative, like, and we rewrite history across the board, or we try to change it to benefit us in the future,
right?
And all this other kind of stuff, like.
I think we're just scared. We're scared as humans. We're scared of what's in it.
It's dark again.
Yeah. Well, like I said, with Black History, it was Black History Month. I mean, you know, I wouldn't say, I don't know why I said Black History Month at the beginning. It was really just pretty much talking about Black people, whites, America, the disconnect, all that good shit.
Black History Month to me forces you to look at the year and try to understand what history in America is.
Facts. Ooh, that's a good one.
Because our history, if compartmentalizing it, our history literally physically built it, along with Chinese, with the railroads and stuff like it.
Yeah.
There's a foundation with our history, and everything else sprouts from it, positive and negative. So I feel like the way that we need to revamp Black History Month and take a month out of it, and just like when we acknowledge Black history, we turn and do that. I also feel like we need to start bringing people into it and not force feeding them. Like, did you know we did this?
Yeah.
And we did that too. Opposed to being like, yo, did you know that we did this? Did you know that we do that? Like, and because then it wouldn't push people away of being like, I don't think I belong in that month. And opposed to being like, yo, I'm curious. Like, give me Black history.
Yeah.
Opposed to like waterboarding people with Black history. You know what y'all did in our month and all that. Like, we know that you know. You have no choice but to.
Yeah. I think they know. I'll end it on this. I think they know. They just don't want to acknowledge it sometimes.
Yeah, dude, that's hard. Like I said, we still have to acknowledge as men what we've done to women.
Yeah. Facts.
And women gotta acknowledge what y'all did to men too.
Facts.
Everybody does. But white people got it the hardest, at
Yeah.
least in America.
Yeah, they do. They might have it hardest in a lot of countries, to be honest with you. Because at the end of the day, I can go to another country and see us. And it don't gotta be just Africa. It can be anywhere. And I see us. We all got the same nose. It might be Chinese or whatever, or not Chinese, but a different colored black. But yeah, you got the same nose structure as us. But I appreciate it, yo. Thank you for getting me back on my shit. So
Thank you,
trying so we can start getting on these podcasts. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we went a little dark, but y'all saw our faces at the beginning, so you can kind of visualize where the voices are coming from. At the end of the day, again, I want to thank Sean for coming through. I want to thank G for coming through. That's it. Just at the end of the day, yo, open up a book. Like Malcolm X says, everything that you need to know at the end of the day is in a book. That's the thing that I think we fail to do as, not only as blacks, but as society as a whole, is that we don't read as much as we should because we are blinded by what's on the television.
And then you got to watch what you read, because that's the rewritten,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
If you don't like to read like I don't, check out Audible.
Oh yeah, you can listen now. See, I'm telling you, there's a lot of technology. You can listen to a book. You might fall asleep because the person that's reading it is kind of monotone, but you learn more when you sleep anyway. At the end of the day. Yeah, see, I be paying attention. I paid attention in college. I just smoked a lot, but I did pay attention, yo. I did pay attention. That being said, yo, appreciate it. Comment in the box below. Hit the like button, subscribe button. It's FlyBy Podcast 2020. We'll be back.
That's right.
Peace.